In this video, I'm going to go straight across the top of the one option platform and I'm going to click File and I'll show you some things that you can do in File. Now, I wouldn't worry too much about the chart features that you can access here because there will be a better way to save and access charts using this little triangle down below, and I will be going through that extensively in the chart video. So the things that you'd want to really keep in mind in File are that if I happen to, let's say, create a custom pop-up chart, and let's say this is my ultimate chart, I love it, I've got all the technical studies I like to have on it, and I want to save it, I'll click File, and I will save pop-up charts. So the next time I log in, if I want to come in and load pop-up charts, I can click that and all of the pop-ups will appear where they were originally. So if I had 4 pop-ups and I want them to pop up in a specific area, it's going to happen exactly the way that you had it when you saved it. So this is a nice feature. I know that many of you like to use multiple charts. I'm going to click that chart off and we'll go back to File. The other thing that I want to show you here, you can find symbols here. There's another way to find symbols using this eye right here. Send logs. There might be times when you're having a particular problem. It could be a display issue or what have you. I might ask you to send logs. So that's really the only thing that you need to know under the file area. Next, we'll take a look at the charting. I just popped up a chart. Everything that you can do in this main chart, you can also do in the pop-ups. So let's go through some of the chart features. First of all time frames are available. So if I want to look at a 1-minute chart, M1, 30-minute chart, M30, 4-hour, 1 day, very, very easy. So that's across the top here. You'll also see that there are studies. There are 150 studies. I can pretty much guarantee you that the study that you like is included. You just have to configure it. There are also a variety of different forms that you can use for the actual chart itself. I like the default, but if you have impaired vision, this might be one of the selections. You can also go with a box style. You can go with line style. Lots of different formats to choose from. I'm going to go back to our original, and that pretty much takes care of the upper part of the chart. Now we're going to go down to the lower part of the chart. This is a crosshair, and in the right margin you can see what the price level is at that particular price point. You can scroll back and scroll forward using these little arrows at the bottom. You can zoom in, so let's zoom in on the last part of the chart, and there you can see the part that I zoomed in on. Now if you want to, you can click the blank magnifying glass and it'll revert back to the default setting. I found that when I used a lot of charting programs, I always had issues getting back to the chart that I originally wanted to look at. There's also a zoom out feature. So let's say this daily chart is something that I want to zoom out on. Well, now I can see a longer term picture of the underlying stock. Again, just click that magnifying glass and everything will return to normal. The next feature is that little triangle that I described to you. So you can load some of your different templates that you've named here. You can load the default. You can also save that chart. So if you have all of your technical indicators set up exactly the way you like, just name it. Let's call it Fave. Click OK. And so the next time I want to load that template, I just click Load Template, and I will see Fave listed right there, and it will load exactly that chart. This is a trend line tool. Do you want to auto extend that trend line? Let's say that I want to know if that price point is broken. Well, I usually use the alerts for this, but you would just simply drop it and it would auto extend. Maybe there's a trend line that I want the stock to follow. I'm going to right click and delete the object. That's how you get rid of the trend line. So maybe this was the trend line that I wanted to follow, and I wanted to know when that was broken. I'm going to delete that object, and later I'll tell you about the alerts. Very, very easy way to get an alert when a price point has been breached. TL, these are drawn by the platform. I just clicked on TL20. I can click on TL200. You can barely see the lower part of it here, but if I zoom out, then I can see that trend line drawn. So this is all done via the platform itself. It knows how to draw these trend lines. There's another one, and we use the trend lines actually in the custom scanner. So this would be a bearish trend line breach right there. I'm going to click TL again, and I'm going to clear it. The one thing that you'll notice is I've made this so easy to use. There's not a lot of configuration. Most everything is toggle on and toggle off. So I'm going to go back to the normal view by clicking that blank magnifying glass. And now we'll take a look at some of the moving averages. SMA, just simple moving averages, things that we always like to look at. So 200-day moving average, 100-day moving average, 50, and a 20. And you'll see that the longer term moving averages have a heavier pen width. They're more important, so they should be easier to spot. But if you've got multiple moving averages on the chart, you know that the longer term ones have the heavier line, and then you've got the 50-day and you've got the 20-day. If I want to clear them, just click SMA, click clear. Really easy. VMA 20, that's just a average volume over the last 20 trading days. That gives you a gauge of what the volume's been doing. 1O squeeze is a proprietary indicator. In this particular study, we are looking for price compression because price compression is like a spring that's coiled and that stock is ready to release. We love compressions. We trade compressions constantly. This is one of the patterns that we really, really lean on. Beautiful price compression right here on the SPY. And the yellow dots signify that the stock is in a compression. A green dot would represent a breakout to the upside. A red dot would represent a breakdown to the downside. So sometimes you won't even see any yellow dots. The stock will just have gotten into that yellow dot range and it'll have broken out instantly. So you might see a rogue red dot or a rogue green dot here and there. But it does mean that it was in a compression momentarily and instantly broke out. So that's nice. That's nice. Got a nice compression in here. Really good breakout right in there on that green dot. You get your buy arrow in there. We love trading compressions. Since I'm on the arrows, I might as well mention that my trading system has arrows on every chart on every time frame. The system's excellent, but there is a little work involved in terms of trade management. So if you're in a position, for instance, this short right here, I would use the top of that bar where it opened as your stop. So when it gaps up here, you're out of that short. Okay, you would have been shaken out of this long right here. You'd have been shaken out of that short right here. But finally, you get on a really, really big runner and a really big short right in there. All you need to do is catch a couple of these and it'll make your year. Really big short right in here. But this is something that you can use even on a 5-minute basis, and I use it all the time. And the trade signals are actually part of the custom search as well. So again, you've got a long right in here. It's a nice little long position, but as soon as you get the short right here, you should definitely be out of a long position, and you might even be taking profits along the way. Gorgeous short right there. 262.80 down to, gosh, 257. That is a huge sell-off on the SPY. I think that's probably about a 35-point decline. Anyway, the point is the trade signals are excellent, but you do need to use a little trade management on them. I use these in conjunction with a couple of other indicators that I'm going to show you. 10 squeeze is definitely one of them. 10p is another technical indicator that you can use. So I'm going to pop that up, and I'm going to take the squeeze off for right now so that we can show this a little bit bigger. This is pressure. It's pressure that's building up on the underlying stock. The pressure doesn't always correspond with the underlying move in the stock, but it usually will. When there's a divergence, it is super, super powerful. So here's the SPY moving higher, and you can see that there's upward pressure on it as measured by my proprietary indicators. So this is what we would normally expect to see. However, it starts to compress in here, and you're seeing some negative pressure on it, and then we get a buy signal, and we have this negative pressure on it. When you get a divergence, a buy signal with negative pressure, it is a powder keg. And that's what you get. So we really, really look for these divergences. And we can find them using the scanner. See if I can find another one in here. You got a selling pressure and it drops. Not seeing any right offhand, but when we get them, you really need to pay attention to those. And we do see them all the time in the stocks, and we see them on a shorter term basis. So I'm just going to go into a 5-minute chart, see if we can find one in here. And now that pretty much picked up the selling pressure right in there. But here you've got the SPY on a sell signal, and there's your divergence right in there. You can see how even with this upward pressure in the SPY, it's tanking, and that's how you know that it is going to continue to go lower. So right there, you've got your divergence, and sure enough, from 260.56, that's about a 25-point drop that took place right there. So the 10p, great, great, great indicator. And toggle on, toggle off. 10SI is how we measure strength versus the overall market. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a chart of Apple, which actually, let me go through how to add a chart, or how to change a chart. You just hover over the middle of the chart and type AAPL. Now, if you wanted to, you could overlay the SPY here, or you could overlay the QQQ, anything you want. So let's do QQQ. And now I'll click OK. So now you can see how Apple has performed relative to the overall market. So in here you can see how the QQQ is shooting higher, but Apple is flat, so that would be relatively weak. Now this orange line measures Apple relative to the SPY. We call this 10SI. Think of it as one option strength index. Okay, so we're always looking for relative strength and relative weakness. And in this particular case, market running higher, 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 weak relative to the SPY, you get a sell signal on it. Look at that drop. It was already telling you that it was weak and ready to roll over. As soon as the market started to weaken a little bit, the stock was rolling over. In fact, from here to here, you can see how the SPY continued to move higher, but the stock was moving lower. Great short right there. These are the things that we look for. You can see how weak the stock was relative to the SPY. So the signals were there. Now, actually, that was a QQQ that I overlaid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the chart. This is all Windows driven, so lots of right click. And I'm going to remove studies. If I wanted to add a study via right click, I could do that here. If I want to remove a study, I can do that here. If I've drawn some trend lines, I can remove drawings here. I'm going to remove studies. So I want to remove that overlay. So whatever you have marked is what's going to get removed. Actually, I want to remove the volume too. I love my indicators, so I don't even look at volume very much. So I'm going to take off the 10 SI indicator, and then I'll just click SPY. There's an overlay of the SPY. And recall back in here how I had mentioned that Apple was pretty much trading sideways when the market was taking off. That was a sign of relative weakness. There you go. Toggle on, toggle off. So I'm going to toggle on, toggle off the trade signals using this BS button here. Buy, sell. Toggle on, toggle off. So if you don't like the arrows, you don't have to have them. This gives you all of your line studies. So for instance, if I want to do a Fibonacci expanded and I want to see how far the market might possibly travel, I'll take that low of that range and I'll take the high of the range, and then I'll be able to see that, yes, on that market peak, we're pretty much right at the upper extension of that Fibonacci. So might be an indicator to short. Going to right click, going to remove drawings, click yes. So these are all of the line studies. Now you can actually trade from the chart as well. But before you can trade from the chart, and you can only trade stock from the chart. Options require different order entry, and I will go into that in great detail. But if you want to trade stock from the chart, you have to go into Broker API. You have to have an account with Interactive Brokers or Tradier. Click multi-order. This will allow you to mirror accounts that you might have. You put in your dollar allocation. So let's say that I want to use $1,000 per trade, and let's say that I want to use a mid order between the bid ask. I would put in 1,000, put in mid, and if I don't want to confirm orders, I leave this blank. If I want to confirm orders when they're triggered, I'll get a pop-up alert. But I'm going to leave it blank, and all I have to do is minimize that. And now if I wanted to buy, I just come up to the chart and I click buy and I place the line. If the line is below the current price, it will know that I'm buying at a limit order. If I click the buy and I place it above the current stock price, it will know that it is a buy stop. For every order that you execute through the chart, the system will always check your position. So if I enter a sell order, it'll check to see if I have a long position. If I do, then it'll default to that quantity. If I don't have a position in it, it's going to know that I've either got a sell limit order or a sell stop short order because I'm initiating the position. Very, very easy. And you can cancel right from the chart too. So if you're flipping through and you see a stock that you have an order on, you can cancel that order. Alert, drop the line, very easy. The first alert box is a day alert. The second is the one that I use all the time. So let's say that I'm looking for a bounce in the SPY. And if it gets above this opening bar right here, I want to know about it, and I don't care when it happens. 2 days from now, a week from now, a month from now, I can log on and off the platform multiple times, and that alert will stay in place. When that alert is triggered, I am going to get a pop-up, and I click OK, and it's going to take me right to the chart so that I can decide if I want to trade it or not. So that is the GTC alert button. I use it constantly. If I see a really good chart and a compression that's coming up, I want to know about it, and I've got one that I can show you. So again, I'm going to just hover over the middle of the chart. I'm going to type in HD for Home Depot. I'm going to click enter. That was a really nice breakdown here, but I was actually bracketing that compression right like that. We had a breakdown. Had another one, KR. This is looking really good, and it wanted to break out, so I'm still going to put one here, and I might even put one right here in case it starts to fill the gap in. So I've got two alerts set for this stock. When that price condition is met, I'm going to know about it, and it's going to set up a really good trading opportunity, really good buying opportunity in this case. If I were looking for a short, I might want to put one down there as well. Right click on the line, delete object, it's gone. So everything is right click driven. Very, very nice charting features. Pretty standard fare. I think the one thing that distinguishes my charts from others is that it's really easy to look at the charts. The colors are easy on the eyes. I've used a lot of dark backgrounds with bright colors, and after years and years of trading, it really drives your eyes batty. The other nice thing is that I've taken a lot of the technical indicators that we use very commonly, and I've made them easy to access. Toggle on, toggle off. You've got all the normal zoom features, all the technical studies you could possibly want. You've got the ability to save pop-ups. You've got the alert feature. So the charts are very robust. I'll mention one final thing here, and that is that if you bring up a chart, you'll also be able to see earnings announcements. And A would mean that earnings are announced after the close this day. So this is what the stock did. B would mean that the earnings were announced before the open. And I'm trying to think of a stock that recently announced. There's a B. So before the open, the earnings were announced. So those are all the charting features that you'll be able to take advantage of. I'm going to conclude this video, and then I will get into lists, the scanner, and a little bit on search, and then the order entry will be its own separate tutorial. Thank you.